The sacred grief of becoming, a transmission for the embodied, rising divine feminine. Before we begin, I invite you to take a deep breath. This is not just something to listen to. This is a transmission. It is a remembrance, a sacred invocation for the divine feminine that is rising within you. What follows, it is not a performance, but a mirror to your own becoming. It is an honouring of the holy grief, the ache of transformation, the fierce love that breathes beneath your pain. So let these words move through your body, not just your mind. Let them stir what's been buried, what's been waiting, not to be fixed, but to be felt. This is the medicine. This is reclamation. This is the return of your own sacred self. There comes a moment beyond time, when the sacred feminine within us all, no matter our gender, refuses to stay buried, and she wants to rise. She rises wild, holy, untamed, unapologetic. It is not gentle at first. It is fire. It is grief. Not the kind you cry over once and move on from. This is soul deep, womb deep. It is ancestral, cosmic. It roars through your bones like 1,000 generations weeping all at once. This is the sacred grief of your own becoming. It begins with a whisper, I cannot carry this anymore. The weight of pretending, the ache of always having to be strong, the pain of being unseen while holding everyone else. This grief, it doesn't ask for permission. It surges, it trembles through the body, and it roars like a wildfire through your heart. It shakes loose the masks that you have been wearing. It removes the survival stories that you've been telling yourself, and it releases the armor that you believed once kept you safe. And in that holy unraveling, we are literally stripped bare. We are not broken, we are just opened. We find ourselves in what's called the void, a sacred space between who we have been and who we are becoming. It is raw here, tender, holy, and yes, it hurts. This is where the feminine begins to remember. She remembers not to cast blame, but to reclaim her own story. She remembers so that she can hold her pain with grace and then transmute it into her own rising. So she remembers the unmet needs of her childhood, the heartbreaks and the betrayals, the moments that she was afraid, alone, and longing for protection that never came. She remembers all the silent losses, the miscarriages, the children, the loved ones, and those simple dreams and joys that never came her way. She remembers the times that she had to be the strong one, when all she truly needed was just for once to be seen, to be heard. She remembers the pain of surviving abuse and injustices, and how it taught her to mistrust, to shrink, and to disappear in order to endure. She remembers the times that she swallowed her truth because the world chose to believe the voices of others over her own, and when being doubted hurt more than being silent. She remembers why she once believed that it was her job to ease everyone else's pain, because somewhere along the way she learned that keeping others comfortable meant that she would stay safe. She remembers how she gave everything, her time, her love, her light, only to be used, to be overlooked, and to be torn down by those who fed off her without ever seeing her. She remembers the guilt that she was never meant to carry, passed down, projected, and etched into her bones until she mistook it for her own. She remembers how her intuition was dismissed, how she was told that she was too much, too sensitive, too dramatic, when really she was just simply attuned to what others feared. She remembers the ache of being misunderstood, and how her depth was met with distance, and how her longing for connection was often met with absence. She remembers the shame that was imposed on her body, and how her power was either objectified or feared, but rarely honoured as sacred. She remembers how her boundaries were broken, they were tested, they were ignored, and how every time she said no, that those words were twisted into betrayal and painted as unkindness, when in fact it was just an act of her own self-honouring. She remembers being celebrated for her sacrifices, yet punished for her needs, and how love was conditional on her disappearance. She remembers how her softness was seen as a flaw in a world that only honoured the hard and the hardened. She remembers the times that she dimmed her brilliance to soothe fragile egos, and how her light was seen as a threat and not a gift. But now she begins to release that burden. She no longer makes herself small to soothe others. She no longer takes on the blame for their discomfort. She stops silencing her truth, her needs, her values in order to keep the peace. She recognizes that crumbs, they are simply not enough, and that she deserves to be met fully as she does with others. She remembers that she doesn't need to wear strength like an armor if it means she has to sacrifice her softness, her truth, her creativity, or her capacity to receive. She remembers the grief of the women who came before her, the ones who were silenced, shamed, and forgotten. And she allows herself to feel it all because she can, because she must. Because she is the one who chooses to feel what others choose to bury. She chooses to heal what others fear. And she chooses to rise where others choose to stay quiet. She is not weak. She is not too much. She is not overthinking. She is sacred ground. She is the vessel of transformation. She is the one who nurtured while starving for tenderness herself. The one who poured love even as her own cup it ran dry. She was the one who continued to smile, who continued to show up, while inside she was silently breaking. But now she chooses herself, not in spite, not in anger, but in reverence. So there's no more shrinking, no more performing, no more apologizing for her depth. She rises, not to be chosen, but because she has chosen herself. This is not depression. This is not failure. This is your nervous system releasing. It is your lineage unraveling. It is your soul remembering. You are never too much. You are always sacred. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not alone. You are becoming. You are anchoring. You are returning. You are returning to your softness, to your truth, to your power. And this is the sacred becoming. This is the embodiment of the divine feminine rising. This is the portal through which you must travel in order to rise. And so now, beloved, I welcome you home. Enjoy the journey.